Smithy, what a night we've had at the Meadows tonight for the Maturity Classic. I tell you what, it's good weather to be an Eskimo here.
Well, you can tell who's from Melbourne and who's not because I'm nice and rugged up. I've got more layers on than I've ever had, Kat, but you're there shivering and I get to stand with my hands in my pockets because you've got the microphone this time.
It is absolutely freezing, but the action on track has been hot. Let's start off with the Fireball and Ella's Babe, and we thought it might be a back marker that took it out, and gee, she looks like she's going to be an impressive stayer of the future.
Yeah, everyone I spoke to during the week kind of mentioned how much speed was in the race. There was plenty of speed low, plenty of speed wide, and with Palawa Kings scratching, Ella's Babe just looked like that back marker that was going to get the room to move, and she's still learning her craft. She's still young, but she certainly stamped her authority on the staying ranks. At this stage, she may not be a Palawa King, she may not be a Valpolicella, but that run was really impressive, and for her to do it from so far back at this early stage of her career, I think the world's her oyster really in the staying ranks.
And moving on to the Maturity Classic and Follow the Band, we know he's a Box 1 bandit, but gee, he had to really put it on show tonight, what he could do. I guess drawing Box 1 in 5th grades is one thing, but to come out and do it on the big stage and run time on what's probably not a fast deck here at the Meadows tonight, it was very, very impressive.
Yeah, I think we can probably tell by all the coverage tonight, all the footage, that weather hasn't really been conducive to fast times. The track's always in a good nick here at the Meadows, but yeah, to be able to run those splits is unbelievable. It was the fastest first split in the Maturity since Fernando Bale in 2015. So when you're starting to put yourself in that rarefied air where you're breaking 5 seconds to the first sectional and sizzling down the back and then still running home in 12:15, you're a greyhound that's got a huge amount of promise. And the Gibbons team, they're up and coming, and they've managed to get the boy together and put it all together on Maturity Classic night, which is important.
And we were saying before the race that it probably isn't a vintage edition of the Maturity Classic, but I'm sure there's going to be plenty of good dogs that come out and stamp their names over the next few months.
Yeah, exactly right. So it's easy looking back at the maturities in hindsight, and you look at the fields and you go, oh, there's 5 Group 1 winners, there's 6 Group 1 winners. Well, these are still the young dogs. They have to be under 2.5 years old, and they will stamp their authority on the greyhound racing scene moving forward. So it'll be interesting to see where a lot of these greyhounds go moving forward. There was plenty of strength in the race, so maybe these dogs are all going to be stayers and can kind of get their wins that way. But it's an intriguing edition of the Maturity, and when you can run the splits that Follow the Band did, you certainly going to want to follow him moving forward.
And aside from the 2 features, the free-for-all was also an absolute belter, and in the hub, we saw a different element of him tonight.
Yeah, we certainly did. I was saying to someone before, I actually think that was in the hub's most impressive victory. He didn't get it all his own way. I know he's gone 29.10s at Sandown. He's gone fast here as well, but the way he did it, he copped a bump early and had to come from back in the field. So that's the sort of stuff that you need to see from in the hub to really think that he's going to be one of the best sprinters in Australia. And I think a run like tonight, even though the time wasn't there, I think the fashion that he did it in was really impressive.
And what are you looking forward to from the card of racing? Who do you think's the dog that was most impressive on paper tonight?
Yeah, I think if you're probably putting them in your black book, you're probably taking Ella's Babe and Follow the Band, the 2 dogs that won the feature events tonight. So nothing really groundbreaking there to follow. But yeah, I think they're both really promising greyhounds that moving forward they can win the punters a few bucks.
And we've discussed the conditions here tonight. It's absolutely freezing on track, and it's probably detracted from the crowd a little bit, but still a really enjoyable night here at the Meadows.
Yeah, it's obviously always disappointing when you don't get the crowds that you strive for, and you compare this to, say, a Phoenix, and it just completely pales in comparison. But the action on track's been phenomenal. The people that have come have really enjoyed it, and that's the main thing. It's pretty hard to get people to come here in the middle of winter, Kat, and yeah, there's not too many people outside. I think everyone's staying inside. They're not as silly as you and I.
And touching on the Phoenix, of course, we start the countdown now, and the slot holders, well, the slots are going to be up for grabs soon.
Yeah, so Monday, 2 days, there's no rest for us here at the Meadows. The slot applications will open, so they'll be open for 5 or 6 weeks, and we'll kind of get the process underway there. So hopefully we've got plenty of interested parties. Everyone's talking about it already, which is an amazing thing given the race isn't until the 21st of December. But I'm a little bit biased. I love the Phoenix. I think it's the biggest race in Australia, if not the world at the moment. And anything we can do to promote greyhound racing that we can do through the Phoenix, I think is a benefit to the sport.
I guess there was a bit of flack when the Phoenix started, how well the slot holder style race was going to go, obviously taking after the Everest, yeah. But it's really just come of its own, hasn't it? Welsh is Fast helped it in the first couple of years, going back to back, that big name, but even the story of Scalacci last year, it was just an unbelievable thing to witness on track.
Yeah, exactly right. It's a phenomenal race, and as I said, I'm pretty biased towards it. I think it's the best race that we have in Australia, if not the world. But it's easy for me to say that, being here and working on it pretty much day in, day out. It takes up so much of our time, but it's worth it when you get to the end of the year and you have the races that have been put on the first 3 years, and you see the people that come on track. You see the demographics that we don't normally hit in greyhound racing. We see them come here, enjoy it, and say, how good's this, and hopefully come back even in the middle of winter. So yeah, I love the Phoenix. I love the stories that come out of it. A slot race is obviously something a little bit different. We don't have too many of them in greyhound racing. We've seen the Sandgroper come since, and yeah, I think it's been a massive support to the racing calendar. And yeah, I love the Phoenix. I love the race. I love the stories that come out of it, and plenty of people are warming up to it after maybe being a little bit negative towards it in its first couple of years, but they're seeing what it can provide.
And Paul Abella, we were speaking to him upstairs before, he said he's already in negotiations for McKenna. So we're talking about a race that's nearly 4 or 5 months away. To be chatting this so soon about a dog that could be heading that way, it just shows how much of an impact this race has.
Yeah, exactly right. It's amazing because, as I was just saying, the slot applications aren't even open yet, so no one's guaranteed a slot. There's obviously plenty of the big wagering partners that'll want to try and jump on board again, and I'm sure that they'll have their opportunity to. But you don't know who's going to be the slot holders yet, and for people to already start trying to talk to greyhounds, talk to connections, trying to get the leg up on their competition, it just goes to show how keen everyone is to get involved, and how keen everyone is to make it the biggest possible race that it can be.
We've seen the last 3 years that you really do need a dog with that local experience around the Meadows, and no one knows the Meadows like yourself. If you had to pick a dog to look forward to the Phoenix right now, who would it be?
Well, I'd love Kanya All Class because I've got a share in him, but that might be pie in the sky stuff. But yeah, a dog like a McKenna, a dog like a Lakeview Emily, these greyhounds that can go nice and quick early. Follow the band tonight. He put down an impressive performance that could probably win a Phoenix. If you're breaking 5 seconds, going 1750s down the back, that's the sort of dog that I'd love to have if I was a Phoenix slot holder. I'm not going to be one. I don't have that sort of change lying around, Kat, but hopefully whoever does get the slots can find themselves a greyhound that they think is a realistic chance of winning, and they have plenty of fun doing it.
Well, Group 1's done and dusted for tonight. You've got about 36 hours before the work starts again, so best get back to it and enjoy the lead up to the Top Gun and then the Phoenix later in the year. Yeah,
it's there's no rest for us here at the Meadows from here on out for the rest of the year, but it's nice and exciting. It's good to be around fast dogs. That's what we all love to do.
Well,
Just before you wrap up with him, now we went through the top 5 back markers earlier in the night, and his top 5, my top 5. Can you ask him why he's so woke and didn't have Bold Treese in his top 5?
I don't know if you heard that. Patch's question is, why are you so woke? Why didn't you have Bold Trees in your top 5 back markers?
Yeah, much to my disgust, I am only a 1995 baby, so
Making me feel old.
I don't have the longevity that some people do, so I can't really mention Bold Treese in the rare air that a lot of people can, because I didn't get to see him live. So I see the replays, and the replays just blow me away. But we did the top 5 back markers, Patch and I, and we decided that we were just going to do it in greyhounds that we've seen. So it was a very honourable mention, and I've copped a fair bit of flack tonight for it. But yeah, he was an absolute star, Bold Treese, and I don't think anyone will ever win 4 Sandown Cups in a row ever again. So he deserves to be talked about even 40 years later.
Who's your favourite maturity winner of all time?
Oh, that's a good question. I think Wow She's Fast is right up there, being here on course, but I absolutely loved Simon Told Helen. The way he just accelerated after about 10, 20 metres. He's the sort of greyhound that I think puts bums in seats, and he's the sort of greyhound that makes me really, set my phone alarm and make sure I never miss a race. So probably Simon Told Helen, I reckon, would be my top favourite.
Well, I think it's just dropped to about -5 degrees, so I think we might head upstairs again in the warmth. What do you reckon?
Yeah, sounds like a plan. I can see you shivering there. I'm comfortable out here, though, being a Melburnian.
I can barely hold the microphone, so we might wrap up things and head back to the Sky Racing studios, and we'll be back about 4 minutes out from the next race.